Welcome to the Color and Life podcast. We are so happy to have you here today. We are publishing this on the 13th of April. That's when the first chance you will have to see it. And it is kind of a long episode this time.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A lot.
A lot. Well, we had helpers. So, and we love helpers. We love our helpers. But we did have helpers, so that's why it's on. We want to tell you before we begin what we are going to be drinking throughout this podcast and what we're going to be snacking on. So, this is Liz's mug. And
Cheers.
This is my mug.
What do you have in your cup today?
I have, how do you say this, Numi?
I believe it's Numi.
Numi. Chocolate.
Puer?
Chocolate something.
Puer, I think.
That's what I have. And it is yummy.
Yeah?
Holy cow, it is yummy.
I had some for dessert last night.
It's
It's a very good
really
dessert
is.
tea.
This is good. This is good stuff. You first introduced it to me, now I have a whole box coming. Should be arriving anytime.
I'm an enabler like that.
Yes, you are.
I'm drinking some Hardy & Sons Paris, which is a lovely black tea with some bergamot, and it's just really lovely. And of course, I take my tea with a little sugar and a little cream.
I like honey. We are having a retro snack. We are having cinnamon, sugar, honey grams.
'Cause yum.
Yes. Exactly. So you've seen us chewing on things. That's what we're chewing on.
Right?
And sharing. And we should get on with the show. So we're going to have some sections this week. Our sections this week are introductions,
Yes.
our conversation
Yes.
that we'll have every time we podcast. We'll have a
Yeah.
conversation about something. Then we always have to show off. Show off.
Because that's what podcast is for.
Oh yeah, we got to show off all our works and finished and plans and all kinds of stuff. That's part of what made it long.
Right? We had lots to share.
We always have lots to share. It's awesome that way. So, and then we have news and events.
that you got to share because
That's
babies.
right. Babies. And then that's it.
That's it.
That's it for this episode 1.
Yay.
We're excited. I'm going first. And I'm Jennifer. I've been knitting for a little while. I've been creative and doing stuff all my life. Crocheting from the time I'm really little. This is Ryan, by the way. He's going to be helping us quite a bit. So you'll hear him. And hear cars and hear other things. We'll try and edit out the most distracting parts and do those over. But he'll just be a part of our podcast because that's our life.
He is a part of our
He's
lives.
a part of our lives. Well, he's not always a part of my life, but he's always a part of your life.
You're a part of my life. He is a part of my life. Therefore,
He's a part of our lives. So, I'm Jennifer, and I've been knitting for a while. I do lots of different, I spin, I weave. I've done a little bit of dyeing, but you are the one who really does dyeing. And I just love fiber. I love creating. I'm doing pattern design. There's just a lot of things. And you'll get to know a lot more through this podcast because you'll get to know us.
Awesome. You are a mother.
Yes.
How many?
Lots. Lots. We'll go with lots.
And a
We'll go with
wife.
lots. Yes.
And a business owner. A multiple business owner.
Yes, this is true. And I teach.
And you're a teacher. Which is fantastic. Go to the Recycle Land. Take a class. You'll hear more about those later.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And you,
And me.
dear Liz.
I'm Liz. I am also a wife, also a mother. I've got 2. This is my young one, Ryan. My elder son is 9 this month. His name is Alex. I will refer to both of them reasonably frequently. So you should probably know who they are. What else about me? I've been knitting since 2010. Well, I've been knitting for longer than 2010, but I really took on the capital K knitter as of 2010. And
Yeah,
I
we are
am
both
also-
capital K knitters.
right. I am also a dyer, weaver, spinner.
You're a capital D dyer.
Yes, it's my chosen profession, which I enjoy immensely. Yeah, so I'm sure as we get to know each other, you'll learn more about me.
So this is our conversation section. We're going to, since this is our first one, we'll start with the definition of what it is. What it is we're going to end up having kind of a conversation amongst ourselves, but we want you to participate in this conversation. We'll have a topic, and then we want you to join the conversation through the blog comments and through the YouTube comments and the thread, the show thread
On the
on
Ravelry group.
on the Ravelry group, which is Color and Life.
Did you start it?
Yeah, it is Color and Life. I'll look it up while we begin our discussion, so I can let you know.
But join
Because
us
I was
in the
invited to
discussion.
participate in it, so it's here somewhere.
So in
Color and Life. It's called Color and Life. So the group is Color and Life, and we'll have a thread for each show. And please, we'll remind you what the topic was, and so you can talk about it. Share your thoughts.
Absolutely.
And this week, this episode 1,
Episode 1.
our topic is what makes an artist an artist.
Yes.
Because this has been an issue for us, and it was kind of the impetus for our podcast.
Yes.
In a way.
Absolutely.
It really was. At least us doing a podcast together. It really was this conversation and this topic. And we tried not to discuss it too much ahead of time, even though it really fueled our discussion. The whole idea and what was under it
Right.
fueled our discussion surrounding, well, let's do a podcast and let's talk about this and let's share this and let's have a podcast where we have conversations and where we do
Right.
that kind of thing.
And see what other people think about these ideas.
Right. Not just us, because we can talk about stuff all day long and into the middle of the night.
Literally.
Easily. And have done. So,
I don't think we've had quite midnight conversations yet.
not yet. That's only because you crashed
Something
too
better
early.
be on fire.
That's
Because
only because you crashed too early because of Ryan. That's all. But we've had very early morning discussions.
early morning discussions. I am the lark. I am early morning person.
And she's turning me into one, for crying out loud.
If
Okay,
you-
so our conversation.
If you need encouragement to
Be alert.
be a morning person, I'm all about that.
Oh,
PM me.
And there is some, I will confess that I have found benefits, but I can't do both at the same time.
No, that unless there you need a certain amount of rest. That's another conversation for another time.
Conversation for another time. Our conversation today is what makes an artist an artist. So
Yes.
let's come back to our conversation for today. But you can see we have a lot to talk about, which is why we're going to have conversations.
Yeah.
All right.
So, Jen,
For me, Ryan's still here, just in case any of you wondered.
he wants to participate in this conversation desperately.
He and I talk a lot, and so he thinks I should be talking to him, not just to you guys and to you.
Right.
He might get a little bit jealous,
a little bit.
but we'll deal with it. So, we have what makes an artist an artist. When I was little, it was very much an established, recognized artist. Picasso, Seurat, who's the watercolor guy? Anyway, I can't.
Monet?
Monet. Monet. even modern artists would kind of go into that category, even
Bob
though
Ross.
they were not looked very favorably upon in my family.
No.
I had a very, very hyper-conservative family. An artist was very, very narrowly construed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what an artist was. Was that for you, this?
Definitely. For me, as a kid and up into my 20s, it was an artist is somebody who got paid to do work. Or their work had value. So maybe they didn't get paid while they were living, but after the fact, certainly.
Yeah, it has to have, their work has to be important.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes, that's a great way to say it. You agree.
Ryan agrees. An artist has to be important. That's the way I always thought about it anyway.
Right. So what about you? When you were young, how did you define artist? Was it similar to what we experienced here, or did you have a broader idea of that? What was
raised
your
a little differently?
What was your upbringing that may have shaded that? You know,
And the other thing is, artists were looked down upon slightly.
in your world,
They were the really famous ones, especially dead ones. They were definitely recognized, especially religious ones.
right.
That was, they were given a little bit. But once it got into more modern and to be an artist, to have that be your livelihood or your profession. Well, as a woman, it was definitely out for me.
Right.
Because my role was totally defined.
Gotcha.
Totally and completely. So the possibility of me being an artist, and for men, it wasn't really very... I mean, if you were a religious artist, you could kind of get away with it, but it wasn't really the highest choice because of a lot of reasons. But
Very strong calling towards that direction. You had to be really convicted.
you had to overcome a lot. You had to be really, really sure. I mean, you had to be one of those people who it poured out of you and could not be silenced no matter what. And I think they experienced quite a bit of pain and struggle.
Sure.
Because there were only certain modes of expression that would be okay too.
Right. See, that wasn't the way for me in my childhood. My sister was a fabulous artist. She could draw anything.
Mm-hmm.
And my entire family comes from the sign industry. And so being graphically inclined, being able to produce something.
That was valuable.
Right. Absolutely. It was valuable. But, this is before really the computer era came about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you had to be able to hand produce things. You had to be able to hand letter. You had to be able to...
Which is a big deal.
Right.
That's a skill.
Yeah, and paint. All of those kinds of things were what defined that kind of artist in my mind.
You couldn't just print it out onto a piece of vinyl.
Right. Exactly. Whereas these days, absolutely you can. So that kind of shaped my thinking of an artist in my younger days and how, I didn't see that as me. Yes, my sister could do it, but I couldn't. So, if I couldn't draw, I wasn't really an artist. I wasn't great in art class. I couldn't do clay well.
Yeah.
And I wasn't
and it was okay
drawn toward it.
In my, maybe I didn't make it extremely clear, but it was okay to be artistic.
Right.
It wasn't looked favorably upon to make your living as an artist.
Gotcha.
Okay, a sign person, that would have been very well received as a trade and something valuable and something cool and something... Yeah, that could have been. Not for a woman.
Right.
But still, it would have its place in doing something to make your home better or something.
Right.
Somehow. You would need to channel that into some other direction.
Right.
Unless certain extenuating circumstances where you were the one who had to make a living for your family. But if there were any other choices, then no, you shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
So there were all of that. There was all that other baggage attached to it besides just a narrow definition.
Right.
So
when did that change?
When did it change for you?
My change was really in 2010, 2011. I was in therapy. And part of the program that I was in with therapy required that you participate in a group, and there were several different groups that you could participate in. So you could do a yoga group, or you could do a jewelry making group. I chose to do one called Living Arts Co-op, and part of that was the idea of making. And I had been capital K knitting for a little while here. And you're welcome.
Capital K knitting.
I'd been capital K knitting for a little while and was comfortable with that, but still wouldn't have called it art. Still wouldn't have called myself an artist based on that. But the co-op was having an art show, and I was asked to participate. And at that point, I really had to evaluate for myself whether or not I thought I was an artist, whether I was an A artist, right? It's capital, yeah. And after some conversation with my peer advisor and all of that, I really found that I was. And kind of embraced the idea that creativity and art and making was all valuable, even if it wasn't sold. Even if it didn't have a dollar sign next to it. Mm-hmm. So how about you?
Well, creating was fine, and doing all that, and those things had value within the context of being able to do them for your home or for your house or for your family or whatever. Mm-hmm. Sewing was very big when I was little. I didn't get to do it. Story for another time. But I crocheted, I embroidered, I cross-stitched, I even helped do some quilting sometimes. So there was lots of craftiness going on.
Right.
But it never reached the category of art. And it was valued as a skill. Mm-hmm. Kind of like embroidery used to be evaluated and taken because you were building your trousseau. Mm-hmm. So you had your hope chest and you had your towels you were making when you were little. You made all of your towels that you were going to use for the rest of your life. Oh, wow. As a mother, you know, or maybe not for the rest of your life, but for the first few years of your marriage, you made all the dish towels, you embroidered them and, you know, did things with that. You made pillowcases, you made, you know, mm-hmm. all this stuff for your home. And that was part of your, meaning, traditionally, that was part of your dowry. You know, you brought that to the table. And it showed your skill and value as a wife. Right. Because someone who could produce this kind of beauty in your home. But it was still in the context of those things. So, it's always kind of been there. I ended up getting into knitting really heavily. I don't remember exactly which year, but a little while back. And I got into it. I had all of my other crafts basically anything I had been into, the scrapbooking, the stamping, anything else had been, well, let's just say, for the sake of a description, that it was all burned in a fire and destroyed in a fire.
Right.
It was that level of unavailable.
Right.
And there was the emotional unavailability for those particular things that I had been to before, too.
Right.
Because it was so difficult emotionally that it wasn't a comfortable thing to think about rebuilding.
Right.
Or recreating. So my husband says, why don't you take a knitting class? So I did. And I had knit one thing one time before.
Right.
And I totally got back into knitting. I mean, it was just like, oh. And I'm a deep end of the pool kind of gal.
Definitely agree with that statement.
You'll
see.
Yeah. So I just really got into it really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And just started producing a lot. And would knit everywhere. In all kinds of circumstances. I mean, very jealous of Never Not Knitting's name. Because that would, I mean, I think it's like my theme. As soon as I heard that, I went, oh yeah, Never Not Knitting. I am virtually never not knitting or spinning or something. It is very rare.
Right.
Even now, right now, in this moment. And I have lots and lots of different projects. I am a very polyamorous knitter, but I still never thought of that as art. I thought of it as something I was doing, something I could be the boss of, something I could say, something to do when I was feeling out of control, a whole bunch of different things. Right. Lots of topics that we've got listed for other times too.
Right.
Lots of purposes it served, but never considered it art. And until dun 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 a couple of months ago, I was at a Rocky Mountain Weavers Guild meeting.
Okay.
And in the middle of this one presentation, and they have wonderful, wonderful presentations there. Join the Rocky Mountain Weavers Guild if you're anywhere in the Denver area and come. It's fantastic. Even if you don't weave per se, they have a spinning thing and all kinds of people knit there and everything. So there, plug for Rocky Mountain Weavers Guild. Anyway, and the Colorado Weavers Guild is good too. I mean, the Boulder Weavers Guild is good too. I just don't happen to be a member of that right now.
Gotcha.
So,
but you were at a presentation.
I was at a presentation there, at their meeting. And I was so moved, and I just was getting, I mean, it was really hard not to just like burst out into bawling tears.
Wow.
And it was only later, retroactively, that I realized, in retrospect, that, not retroactively, in retrospect, that I realized, oh, I'm in the middle of my midlife crisis. Because I was like, holy crap, I've spent my whole life not being who I am.
Right.
Which is an artist. And so embracing that and going forward with that, oh God, I'm getting all...
No weepiness.
Weepy.
First episode, no weepiness. Come on now.
I just am starting to tear up a little bit just thinking about it. That it was so unavailable to me to embrace creativity just for the sake of creativity.
Sure. I think that's a common theme for folks.
I always wanted to just like take finger paints and just make a mess. And just play with the color and figure out how it worked. But I never could because there always needed to be a picture that I was making. There always needed to be something I was doing with it. It always needed to be for something.
They had to have a purpose rather than the purpose being for itself.
Yeah. And ironically, even now though, I think that's what spinning lets me do. That's why I love spinning so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I can use that for some other purpose, but while I'm spinning, I don't have to know what I'm spinning for. Sometimes I do, and I'll share a project. A really cool thing. And I'm working on some stuff. And there will be occasions that I will spin for a purpose.
Right.
Spin for a particular project or spin for that. But when I'm spinning, I get to play.
Right.
That's my finger painting. Holy cow,
There
I
you
just
go.
figured that out. I love these conversations. This is why we wanted to have these. Because I just figured that out. That's besides just being zen. Holy cow, it's my zen.
Right.
Besides that, that's when I just get to play. That's why I have so many braids. That's why I have so much fiber. That's why I get to go, love it, and get it, and I don't care what it's for.
Right.
I just got a new finger paint.
That's
And
totally
I can
fair.
play.
There you go.
And then I can figure out later what does it look like, what is it doing, and what I want to do with it.
That's good. I think that's how I approach spinning myself 99 then some part of the time, is just something that's pretty, that intrigues me, and I'll predetermine how many plies I want to do of something.
Yeah.
But so often it's just I think I'll do a 2-ply. Split the braid in half, or however I decide I want to do it, and just go.
Yeah. Just play with the color and see. And I think that's why I love the project that we're working on right now so much.
Right.
It's because I just get to play and see what it looks like when I mix them all up together.
Right?
In different
You'll hear
ways.
more about that later.
And it's cool.
That's something that we're both doing together that's kind of awesome. So, I feel like that's
I'm really
covered
glad.
everything.
I'm really glad we did that. I didn't realize that I spun the finger paint.
I was gonna challenge you
didn't.
to go get some finger paints this week, and
But that's
do
what I
that.
do.
Right?
Because I was sitting there in the process of saying that, I'm like, but I really love knitting and knitting a project and knitting. I love the process of knitting, yes. And I think that's why I'm okay with so many projects going at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have to have that finished project unless it's something for somebody, which is not super often. I'm really good about being a selfish knitter. It's really hard for me to give it away.
Right.
I have to, if I give you something knitted, you are knit worthy. With a capital K and a capital W. Seriously. Because it's really a challenge for me. But in weaving I'm okay with projects in that, but really I just kind of went through what I do, and it's spinning. It's spinning where I just play with color.
Right.
I mean, I love mixing colors and doing stuff in knitting, but it's spinning where I really just play. And it's dyeing where you really play.
Definitely. Yeah. Color and I have a deep, long-term relationship. And I feel confident in color and the way that I combine color. And, I have yarn that I call color play, that is literally me playing. This is me throwing colors at things and seeing what comes up.
Hi.
Good forth.
Yes. So, we both have figured out that we're artists.
Yeah.
Well, we've created kids.
Right.
I loved, by the way, that you put that on your Ravelry when you were pregnant with him. That was the best. That was totally the best.
there you go.
Okay, so I loved it when you put that up on your Ravelry page.
Yeah. So while I was pregnant with Ryan in, what was that, 2015? No, 2014.
No, 2014.
And into the, yeah, he was born in 2015.
Mm-hmm. He was born at the very beginning.
Right? So I put up a Ravelry project page as a place where I could post my pictures, and, you know, it was kind of the biggest project to date. At least since my...
That's a pretty big project.
Right? Just a little bit.
And it's very creative, and it really takes up a whole lot of creative energy. I mean, it was so perfect.
Yes.
It was so perfect.
All of my creative energy. So
what is it? What did artists, I guess, we're kind of share with us what you thought artist was when you were younger, what it is for you now, if you think of yourself as an artist, if you want to think of yourself as an artist, all of those things. Discuss.
if you don't think of yourself as an artist, why not? Tell us that too.
Yeah. Why don't you think it's art? Do you just, whatever.
Right. Good deal.
There we go.
We look forward to reading the comments and participating in the discussion.
And while we won't always comment, we will read.
Yes.
And I like that, I think it's the Grocery Girls. Click the like button so you know that they've read.
Right.
Or was it?
I'm a love button pusher.
Yeah.
So, I'll push all the love buttons.
Push all the love buttons. Oh, it was Periscope Sisters. That's who did it.
Gotcha. So many good podcasts.
So many good ones. We hope we become one of those good ones.
Right.
We want to be.
Definitely.
We think we are.
We wouldn't be doing this otherwise.
True. True.
So are we ready to move on?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you. At Colorful Eclectic, we want everyone to experience the language of color, from pastels and brights to jewel tones and all the shades of gray. We strive to make beautiful yarns that speak directly to your heart. Please visit colorfuleclectic.com to check out our current stock. Don't see your signature color? Send a message and we'll work with you to make all your color dreams come true.